Welcome back again, my people. It's the Lion King again, once more. This time, I'm back with Lost Histories of America. Just I'll creep over some little things, people. Now go through everything, you know. Right now, this book is over 300-page book. So right now, I'll go through all that, but I'll go through some pictures, some maps, and some little diagrams. Some of the things that in a present history them are attribute to more modern times. But I'll go through some of the little things and not much time to do it right now. So I'm going to scan and preview some of the images. Then another time I'll come back to this book here. Bring in some places, mention some places where is not on our present map, like place named Minerva, and them places there where they be on the ice wall. Have another map where a place named Minerva feature beyond that ice wall. So now I got too much into that in this video, where I see some of the native tablets and some of the things them where ancient Americans long before the yellow fever take over and destroy the Americans, long before the floods of the 1700s and the great fires of the 1700s and floods of 1800s wipe out, designed floods of the 1800s wipe out some histories of the Americans. So we just all go through brief images and histories, and where they call myth, where present history they call myth. Parts of the Ptolemaic zodiac. It's a map of South America in the mystic era. Go into it, especially with the American question. When I say the bars and stars, the banner of the stars and stripes waves over land which, for resources and extent, is second to none in the known world, occupied by a chief by a race famous in the annals of history, as migrating into distant portions of the globe and there laying the base of future nationalities and empires, admired by all the great and small nations of whole continent and envied by none. It stands out prominently as one of the greatest and mightiest portions of the earth's surface. Justly proud of its enormous advantages in natural features and confident in the skill and enterprise of its population, America looks forward in the great future, near and distance, to histories that must materially affect the peace and happiness of the whole world. Yet this great country in the literature of the world is destitute of history. In the historical antiquities of the human race, it is a blank, an absolute blank. Its annals in the books of an university of all European nations are supposed to date from what is called the Discovery of America by Columbus. No obscure and insignificant island in vast oceans of Polynesia is more completely in the remote annals of the vast parts of the world being than the great double continent of America in books on ancient history. America has no chapter. In the discussions of the archaeologists concerning this the ruined cities of the world, America is not mentioned. In any estimate of the mysterious movements recorded in the Bible concerning the great dispersion, America and its people have no place. Ancient America is a normality, a non-entity, a hiatus, a vast terra incognita in the geography of the whole world. The only thing acts as sort of shadow of a shade in the history touching this great question relates to some obscure tradition given by some old author of a supposed island of great extent which sunk in the waters of the wide Atlantic. But the obscure tradition has been allowed, like the island itself, to sink. It has long since been wiped out of remembrance as a ridiculous story, too insignificant to notice. All sensible authors have treated the sunken island as real. Any allusion to it as having a connection with the vast continent of America would expose a wrong to contempt, would expose a writ to contempt, yet that tradition is all that appears in the common and received literature of Europe, relating in any way to what is now called the New Hemisphere. So people, I'll give you from this one, I'll give you some little images of what we see, and come out with some little emblems and things there. I'm going to touch a little bit more on some of the readings, but I don't do much of that in this. So here we go.
Chloris, whom Nilus once married, on account of her beauty, when he had given her countless dowries, the youngest daughter of Amphion, son of Jagus, and she bore to him noble children, Nestor and Chromius and proud Periclymenus, and besides these she brought forth Strupero, a marvel to mortals, whom all the neighboring inhabitants wooed, nor did Nilus at all offer to anyone, who could not drive away from Phyllis, the crumpled horned oxen of mighty Epicles. And I beheld Leda, the wife of Tyndareus, who brought forth two noble-minded sons Castor and Pallas. After her, I beheld Iphymedia, wife of Aloeus, who said that she had been united to Neptune and bare two sons, but they were short-lived godlike Otus and far-famed Iphials, whom the fruitful earth nourished the tallest and far the most beautiful, at least after illustrious Orion, for at 9 years old, they were also 9 cubits in width, but in height, they were 9 fathoms, who then threatened the immortals, that they would set up a strife of impetuous war, in Olympus. They attempted to place Ossa upon Olympus, and upon Ossa leafy Pelion, that heaven might be accessible. And I beheld Phaedra and fair Ariadne, the daughter of wise Minos. And I beheld Mzra and Clemen and hateful Eriphil. This requires some comment. It is transcribed rather fully, because of its singular interest in itself. The author being Homer, it may be accepted as veracious. When read in the light of common sense and divested of imaginary divinity, it is a simple story of a warrior, who after the Trojan War, went to sea. But where did he go to? In the present volume, this question has to be answered by the localization of the dramatis persons. Ulysses first visits Circe. Circe has her location in Italy. She was a daughter of a king of Colchis, who was expelled from the country and carried to the coast of Italy. Ulysses remains with Circe for the space of a year, and then at the advice of Circe, he descends to what is called Amande. He then takes ship and sails, with his companions, to what is then designated the Land of Darkness. Where the Land of Darkness was, may be seen from an examination of the old Hindu map, which has been introduced in the second chapter, on account of its geography of high antiquity. Evidence 37 is America. Not only do the Hindus call America the Land of Darkness, but the classic writers do so likewise. The Odyssey opens with an account of the arrival of Ulysses in that land. He is found in company with the venerable nymph Calypso. But who is she? She is a nymph, that is to say, she is an inhabitant of the Atlantic Isle. In the myth of Calypso, she is called an Oceanide, or one of the daughters of Atlas already seen to have been located in Central America. Ulysses is detained in her hollow grot, and after revolving years, he returns to Ithaca. Ulysses then gives an account of the people he saw during his residence in his oceanic domicile. When the names are subjected to the process of localization, as far as ancient literature affects them, they are all found to be American. This work has not yet sufficiently advanced to identify the names, but Homer seems to have availed himself of the license of antiquity, as Josephus calls it, or of poetry, his own vocation, for the list comprises a very fair and comprehensive enumeration of the mythic or historical personages, whom a critical enquiry must put in America. Had it not been for the strange hallucination which appears to have pervaded the minds of men, in relation to the old traditionary stories of the bards and muses of history, the story of Ulysses would read as nothing more nor less than a good poetical account of a temporary residence of a Greek warrior, in the land of America. Under these circumstances, the narrative is a strong, Oceanus. 45. Menoetius, and Epimetheus. This is a short legend, but of the highest possible importance to the present enquiry. She heads the Titan race, and in future pages of this work, her husband and her children will be found to embody some of the most important histories of Mexico and Central America. Clythia is uncertain. Nereus and Doris come next. They separately are children of Oceanus. Nereus was generally represented as an old man, with a long flowing beard and hair of an azure color. The chief place of his residence was in the Aegean Sea, where he was surrounded by his daughters, who often danced in choruses round him. He had the gift of prophecy and informed those that consulted him, with the different fates that attended them, and see. Nereus and Doris are the parents of the Nereids, the mermaids of antiquity, of whom 50 are mentioned. It is not necessary to transcribe the names. As the names of the Nereids are to a great extent the same as those of the Oceanids, it must be inferred that there is little difference between Nereus and Oceanus, as impersonations of the Oceanic hemisphere. If there is any difference, that of the father seems to be descriptive of geography and that of Nereus of personality, according to the fine verse of Hesiod, the sea with earth embracing, Nereus rose, eldest of all his race, pure from deceit, and true with filial veneration named, ancient of years, for mild and blameless he, remembering still the right, still merciful as just in counsels,